Hey guys, this third time I'm doing this take. I'm really bad at this. Sorry I haven't been posting, but, I'm really lazy, okay? But I'm going to try for the 17 people that have subscribed to my channel, so, yeah. Also, does anybody know how to get a list of everyone who subscribed to you? Because I really want to try and memorize you, or at least, I'll try, I'm probably gonna fail. So yeah, this video will include the 12 Espizuki written and created by my friend. We're not friends, they don't know I exist. They probably don't know I exist. And they're detailing their abilities and backstories for all but one of them. Let's get started. Oh yeah, before I go on, this world's 12 Espizuki won't, also yeah, spoilers for Bleach and Demon Slayer if you haven't already guessed. The Espizuki won't have their lower ranks destroyed because they'll be exceptionally more powerful. To give you an idea, they'll be able to go toe-to-toe with a Hashira, but only because of their regenerative capabilities. The lower ones won't, the upper ones will be able to go toe-to-toe with a Hashira, even without their regenerative abilities. Comment below if that doesn't make sense. Also, these demons will have the ability to destroy any demon, or else to destroy any demon they want. Even with, so, to destroy any demon they want any time they want, which is what makes them more feared. Also, some of these demons will respect human life, though not enough to go against this world's Muzan for it, only that they don't treat them like trash, and only eat when they need to. I think that's everything. I'm recording, not gonna screw this one up. Let's go. First up, Lower Moon 6. Xiao Long, I don't know his last name. His ability is those fancy claws of his. When he pumps blood into them, they grow to bigger, more giant sizes and sharper tones, and they gain qualities of a Nichiren sword, but that only means when he decapitates a demon, they won't be able to control their bodies, and they'll just be left to die when the sun comes up. So they'll be conscious and talking and screaming, but they're not going to be able to move. So that'll be even more terrifying, if anything. I don't have a... Oh yeah, also, under that hat of his is like this weird head mouth that with a razor-fast tongue, so that's terrifying. Yeah. Up next, again, I don't have a backstory because I never really connected with this guy. He was only around for like, what, a couple episodes? Yeah, he didn't make much of an impression on me. Up next, Lower Moon 5, Szayelaporro Grons. Like his canon counterpart, he will use his blood to create, not like his canon counterpart, he will have these, like, jumpy slaves, but they will be made from his own blood, and they will be sent out to capture blood of those he wishes. If needed, he can just take the blood himself, but he prefers not to get his hands dirty more often than not. Once the blood is in his body, he will make, like, that weird egg doll you saw him use in Bleach. And, yeah. He'll just do his old voodoo shtick. The effectiveness of the doll will be equal to how much blood of the person he consumes, so that's fun. His backstory is that, oh yeah, he's also one of the, he constantly researches how to make demons immune to sunlight. And as you can tell, most of those end in failure, so that's fun. Yeah, his backstory is that he was a scientist until his research was stolen and he was left out homeless to die. He was approached by this world's Muzan, and you can see how that ended up. Next up, Lower Moon 4. Aaroniero, whatever the fuck his name is, I don't know. His ability is to consume any demon and add it to his own body mass. It doesn't really make him bigger. Well, yeah, okay, it makes him bigger, but he'd have to consume, like, a lot of demons to get to the size. Yeah, okay, you know how big his bleach form was when he used Glutaneria? He'd have to consume the same amount of demons just to get to that size. Yeah, his true form is a blob, in case you haven't noticed. Just like this big freakish blob. conscience with one eye, so that's creepy. The only way to do it is to destroy the head. That's, well, or rather cut off the head, because there's like this weird floaty body in there, whose head you have to decapitate. Any demon higher than him has the ability to deal with this, but the lower ones don't, so that's how he was able to progress so high. Before he was a demon, he was actually an actor until his face was burnt into a crispy little thing, so that was fun. He was approached by Muzan, and yeah. The crispy body that was useless is actually what you have to decapitate, but since it's in a blob of Devourer's goo, it's pretty hard to do it. People can actually resist the goo, but they'll have to have incredible will and even stronger bodies. Before he was a demon, that face was actually what he looked like, or pretty close to it, actually. Up next, Lower Moon 3, Zommari. He actually is one of the people who respects humans. Though he still kills them, he actually lights a little candle for them. It's not much, but most demons forget they even killed someone, so yeah, good on you, Zommari. His ability is that if you look into any of the many eyes he has, I'll just explain while I turn the light on. You will be under his complete control. You'll tell him anything he wants to know, do anything he wants you to do. He uses this power to combat Aaroniero by just making him stay away from him. He uses this power to make demons walk into the sunlight, so that's terrifying. He also knows a bit of Nichiren swordplay, but he doesn't use a sword because, look at his arms. Anything he does with them causes him some form of discomfort, so he wouldn't be able to use it to his full effect. And he actually respects humans for being able to come as far as they have, so yeah. He's actually able to turn his arms into like fast tentacles with the eyes being able to move around them, like Enmu did with the train thing. Only they're smaller, but much faster and can strike more devastating blows. His backstory is that he was like this tribal warrior. He was just a samurai, actually. I don't know why I said tribal warrior. Until he overheard his king plotting to... I'm sorry, this mask is pretty hot. Until he overheard his, not king, but like general? Yeah, I think that's how it works. I'm sorry, I rehearsed this in my mind. I'm just really sweaty. Yeah, until he overheard his general planning to sacrifice his men. He tried to save everyone, but they didn't believe him, and he ended up losing everything. And then he met this world's Muzan. So yeah, that's fun. Up next, Upper Moon 2, Nnoitra Gilga. This is obviously one of the ones who don't respect humans, but then again, that's most of them. He was actually a demon slayer. His rank, I had to look this up, is Tsuchinote, one of the closest ones to Hashira. Imagine Inosuke, except without all the character development, much more reserved, but no morals. Basically Nnoitra, and basically regular Nnoitra from Bleach. That axe he has, if you can see, like, this thing, it's, okay, he has that giant sight thing, which, I can't really fathom what it is. It's just huge, humongous, it's just, yeah. He actually builds that sight, and refines it with the swords of all the demon slayers he kills. So, that's fun. Yeah, I've already told you this backstory, so, and yeah, he's not really one of the demons you're gonna end up feeling sorry for. Sorry if that kind of hurts anyone. Ooh, yeah, he can also, most of the demons are gonna have this kind of ability, but he can break apart pieces from his giant axe, put it into his body, and then reform them as smaller, more easily accessible sides. So it's kind of like his release, but then again, not. Then again, it's not his release. So yeah, um, yeah, he's kind of he's a pretty bad guy. Okay, on to Lower Moon 1. Um, Halibel. Um, she was actually the water Hashira of old. Or she was until, well, not until, but her ability is that she'll have this like giant sword that's filled with her blood, and she uses water breathing to access that blood, and oh yeah, and turn the water style breathing into Red Sea breathing, which sounds natural, but it actually is like water, except it works much faster in the process that, okay, you know how when you go into a bath and you stay in it for a long time, your skin becomes all wrinkly? It works like that, except the water steals the water that's in a person's body. So, yeah. Her sword is actually really big. Okay, have you seen, okay, let me put it in this way. You know that sword she has in her Bleach counterpart? Okay, in Bleach, that giant sword she has when she transforms that's part of her hand? Yeah, it's like that, except it's a regular sword. Well, a regular great sword. She actually stores it in her body, and then whenever she calls it, it just like juts out of her back like a shark fin, and then she just takes it out. It's kind of horrifying to watch, really, but also not. It's also kind of cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. She actually compresses it into her body. It too has the ability of a Nichiren sword, and since she was a Hashira, it's much more powerful. She wasn't one of the stronger Hashira. If anything, she was closer to one of the weaker ones. But I mean, yeah, she's still. Yeah, that doesn't really say much when she's still pretty dangerous. Yeah. Her backstory is actually one of the ones I put more thought into. While she was on her demon slaying journeys, she came across three young children, who were, you guessed it, Apache, Sun Sun, and Mila Rose. She would end up taking these three in and raising them as her own. And they would actually, and much to her dismay, they would become demon slayers. And I know it's weird when I say dismay because she's one, but I mean, come on, the final selection literally has a bunch of kids die. And I mean, it kind of makes sense when you think that they're gonna die anyway if they go out unprepared, but it's still pretty bad. I mean, yeah. Yeah, they would eventually grow into three teenage girls, and though she still had to go on missions, she actually made a lot of time for them, and they grew into like a pretty good family, mother to three. It was pretty nice and heartwarming. Until one day she came back to discover that one of the lower moons, one of the former lower moons, it's none of these guys, had came into her house and had fatally wounded all of her daughters. She went into an epic clash with the lower keys, with the lower I keep saying this, Espizuki, and ended up killing him. Well, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna say Kizuki because at this point it's none of the Bleach characters. So yeah, and she killed the lower Kizuki, but this still left a feeling of one of her daughters that were bleeding out. She realized that they had been mortally wounded, which led her to the thought, what if they weren't mortal? She knew she would be breaking several Demon Corps rules, but at this point all she was a mother trying to save her daughters. And thankfully a ton of blood had been spilled from the Kizuki that she had killed. So with desperation, she took the blood and poured it into their wounds. And before she had known it, her daughters had become demons. With Apache growing an elk horn, I think that's what she is, or like a deer stag, I'm not really sure. Or on her head, it would be one, but it would be like the side of her head. So yeah, like
yeah, so I don't know what to say. Sun would lose her legs in favor of Snaketail and grow fangs, and Mila Rose would gain these like lion claws, lion fangs, and like this fierce lion mane. They would still be relatively human, but she knew that it would only be a matter of time before they were killed, and they needed someone to protect them. So she took the blood. So she herself became a demon for her daughters, and now she travels with them, and they're like her squad, and they're still actually a relatively happy family. She respects humans and teaches the same rules to her daughters until, she died. Under that little like scarf she has is like this shark mouth, which she covers at all times because it's gonna be pretty obvious she's not human. And if they see like this, like, and it's not really a mouth per se, but like gnashing teeth, really. It's complicated, but yeah, it's like this shark jaw thing. Yeah. Yeah. Once she actually uses her full power, she's able to fire these like flying slashes of red sea water at her target, and it's pretty terrifying, not gonna lie. Okay, and that's the story of Lower Moon 1. I like to think I've done a pretty good job of her backstory, but you tell me if you don't like it. Okay, up next, Upper Moon 6, Grimmjow Jaggerjaw. I like to think this is actually a pretty nice one considering what he looks like in Bleach. He's pretty terrifying, and all around terrifying demon. He looks like the furry accents actually make him look even more terrifying if I'm being honest. But I like the nice little crown simplifies his urge to be a king. And he actually has the unique ability to plunge his claw into a person's heart and turn them into like a panther demon, sort of like Rui does. And once he does that, he has them completely in his grasp. Well, not yeah, and he only does this if he deems them worthy. However, once he does, he holds their life in his hands. All it takes is one thought from him, and he can kill them instantly. Yeah. He was actually, okay, I'm sorry. This is confusing. He actually has a Nichirin sword he carries on them, though it's pretty chipped. When he gets serious, he plunges it into its body and it breaks apart in said body. His body grows bulkier, more furrier, and like these blades jut out of his body in like a symmetrical pattern. Think of like a panther, and his final form is that like a half. Okay, you know how he's like an armored panther in his release? Think of that, except none of the armor and only the blades. Yeah, his final form is actually pretty terrifying, as like half of his face, as like, well, yeah, he pretty much becomes like a half panther, half armored guy. It's pretty terrifying actually if you ever seen it. His backstory is that is raised by well, you know how Inosuke was, and kind of spoilers really, was raised by boars. Yeah, he was raised by panthers. So that's a fun. So that's kind of fun. Oh yeah. Also, the reason he knows about Nichiren swords is because he's taken multiple demon slayers. None of them too powerful, but he actually has a couple of Kinoe under his control. That's like the second highest rank a person can get aside from Hashira. So he knows about demon slaying Nichiren swords and how to properly use them. Yeah. So yeah, he actually lived his best man panther life as a human until they were hunted and his parents sacrificed themselves so that he could get away. He ended up giving off such hatred that he Muzan was attracted to him, and now he's this. So that's fun. All right, up next we have da 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 lower up. Sorry, it's confusing. Upper Moon 5, Neliel to Olderschwink. I hope I said that right. Um, her ability is actually pretty simple. It's well, yeah. All it really is that is that she's what's the word? Is that all it really is her speed? I'm not really sure what to tell. She's actually one of the fastest. Actually, wait, no, scratch that. Yeah, she is the fastest on land. She's the fastest land Espizuki. I'm sorry. I rehearsed this in my head and just making sure I got everything right. Her real power, however, is in those horns, in which he can enforce them in her blood demon art, and then, well, I mean, she rams them. Please don't take that like in a dirty way. Don't make it weird. You've seen rams. You know what they do. You know what she's doing with those horns on her head. She's not doing anything dirty. Yeah, please don't make this weird. Yeah, she's taken the demon slayer swords of those she's defeated and melted them onto one side of that like double-sided spear she has. And she's taken some regular metal and melted it on the other end. Only she knows which one is which, and this constantly keeps the other demons guessing. So yeah, they live in fear of her. She's one of the few. She's one of them who respects humans, and again, constantly tells the family she has not to kill them if it can be avoided. Her backstory is that she was a farmer girl with her two brothers, and yeah, then it got invaded. Yeah, and she wasn't any regular farmer girl. She was like a princess. I think they had princesses in medieval Japan. Yeah, point is, she was a princess who had made the decision to live her life out on the farm with her servants, who were the closest thing she had to brothers. The king didn't like this and sent a bunch of soldiers to burn down her farm. She was sort of, and she was kind of slightly mentally traumatized by and also, and it didn't help that the soldiers had kind of sort of fatally wounded her brothers. Her grief attracted Muzan to her, this world's Muzan, and she begged that she would do anything to save her brothers. And now she's this, so that's fun. Up next we have Upper Moon 3, I think we're on? No, 4. Upper Moon 4. Yammy Iargo. His ability is that, well, it's pretty much the same as his Bleach one. The angrier he gets, the faster his blood pumps, and because of that, his blood demon art gets more powerful. You see those like little jewels things? I think those are jewels. I can't really tell. I'll even in the original picture. They're either bones or jewels, but yeah. They grow bigger and cover his body like an armor. And not only that, but he gets significantly faster and stronger. I don't know what to tell you. Look at him. What else can I do without making it a blatant copy of his Bleach counterpart? I mean, for what it's worth, it's pretty powerful. Okay, yeah. Okay, maybe you'll be more impressed by his backstory. His backstory is that, well, he used to be a miner until the cave collapsed in on him due to other people wanting more profit. And, yeah, his jaw kind of became broken until it was, and you see that, like, little scar he has right here? Yeah, that's because he fell on a rock and he couldn't scream. So his jaw was broken, and even if it wasn't, he couldn't even talk. So he was this attracted the world's Muzan to him, and ta-da! Upper Moon 4. Okay, up next, Upper Moon 3. Barragan Luisenbaum, I think I said that right. Yeah, his ability is that he can turn his blood into like this acid, and before you say it's a ripoff of Halibel's blood demon art. His doesn't simply drain the water out of a person. It's acid. Okay, that should have been obvious. I'm sorry. Basically, the acid destroys anything and everything in its path, and so yeah, it's pretty hard to behead him if you know acid. That's fun. Oh yeah, we never really discussed this guy. Yeah. Before I say anything, he can. If you look at his teeth, they actually have nitrine qualities because he dipped them in metal and he didn't really feel anything because you know it was a replacement jaw. So he just bites off a demon's head. So yeah, that's terrifying. Yeah. Um. So yeah. He can also to churn the blood in his stomach, if that makes sense, and then dispel a acidic gas, which, while it dissipates after a shorter period of time than the acid, is still pretty deadly and holds just as much force, only it's aerial. So, yeah. Killing him will automatically destroy all the acid in the area, but it won't do much if it's already eating at your head. Haha. Yeah. His backstory is that he was a king, no relation to the king that destroyed this girl's life, but he was actually a peaceful king, and he always sought to make the best out of every situation, and he rarely ever used his army, though he always trained for it. Though one day he got word from a neighboring nation, and he sent his army. Not all of it, of course, but still like a sizable amount, like a fourth. Yeah, fourth. And then he got word from another nation, so he sent another fourth of his army. And then he got word from the third neighboring nation, and his army was down to a fourth, leaving his nation to suffer from the combined weight of 3 whole armies. His kingdom and men were slaughtered, and his land was taken. He got that scar on his eye. From a general who told him all of this before going in for the kill. But before to gloat, he actually gouged the guy's eye out and then broke his crown right in front of him. The king was in shambles over all the pain his people had suffered because of him, and that despair attracted Muzan Kibutsuchi, who killed the man about to kill him and demonized him so that nothing like this would ever happen again. And as he lost his humanity, he lost his heart. Those horns on his head are actually the mutated versions of the golden crown he had because he still yearns to be a king, even though he knows he can't because he's a demon. Though he does actually rule over like a small nation of demons. It's not really anything big, and it's definitely avoidable, but I mean, it's still a pretty sizable army. Yeah. Okay, yeah. That eye, the axe with the eye in it, is actually the axe he had. So the eye, became an axe due to the weapons surrounding it, and he dipped that axe in Nichirin blade. Did it kind of hurt because it was his eye? Yes. Can he now kill any demon he wants? Also, yes. I think that's... Yeah, okay, that's everything. Behold, Upper Moon 2. Ulquiorra Schiffer, whatever. Yeah. His demon blood art is that he can use his blood to create these, lances and then fire them off. He can fire as many as you want because, demon body. And he can also sprout these, giant wings that allow him to fly at supersonic speeds. That's why I said fastest on the land because, air battle. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. This guy actually has a disease called zero bomb cyclar. Look, okay, I can't exit out of the videoing tab without ending the video, so, yeah, just live with it. I'll type it into the comments when I'm done with it, don't worry. So he couldn't go outside into the sunlight even if he wanted to, and because of that, he was kind of a burden on his parents because they knew he would never be able to go to work or anything. So he kind of just lived in the attic like, a bat until he was approached by Muzan, and he figured since he could go out in the sunlight anyway, he would take his offer. This naturally terrified his parents, but he didn't really see the point in having them, so he left. He and as he ceased the point in seeing, and as he ceased seeing the point in parents, he ceased seeing having any human emotions. He's actually fascinated with humans, though that's pretty different from respecting them. He's constantly wondering about how they're so strong-willed despite not having any regenerative abilities, and he's constantly wondering why, even as he kills them. Okay, up next, the man you've all been waiting for, Upper Moon 1, Coyote Starrk. Da, 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 da. Okay, yeah, I could have used a big review. Look, video editing's hard, okay? I suck at... Okay, fine, it's not hard, I just suck at it. Yeah. His demon blood art is those guns in his hand. You know how Lily is like his companion or something like that? Or, well, no, he's his sister. I'm just gonna say sister. Long story short, when he became a demon, she became a demon with him, and she kind of turned into the guns you see there. It's pretty complicated. I'm gonna go into more depth as it goes on, but point is, she's in those guns, meaning that even if you cut off his hands and knock the guns away from him, he'll call them back, like how Thor does with Mjolnir after he's regrown his hands. He can fire, since they're connected to his hands, he can fire blasts of blood that are pretty destructive. His ultimate in form is when they fully merge with his hands and they become like wolf blasters on his hands, and he ceases to have hands at all. It's complicated. Point is, he can just open his hand, mouth, and fire a cannonball-sized blast of demon blood, infinitely more destructive than his regular blasts, and just like keep doing it. So they're like cannon machine guns, if that makes sense. Yeah. He actually has narcolepsy, which even his demon in blood couldn't fix, so whenever he's asleep, Lily takes over the gun hands, and because since she's connected to his hands and body, she can freely manipulate the guns and shoot. And since the eyes are on the gun, she actually has considerably good aim. Actually, no, yeah, she has the best aim. It's why he's such a good sniper, because he always knows where to fire. Doesn't mean he'll always hit, but I mean, yeah. Doesn't mean he'll always hit in a battle, because they'll still dodge, but yeah, as a sniper, he's top to done. His backstory is that, well, aside from his narcolepsy, he also had a highly contagious disease, and as did his baby sister, so from a very young age, he was quarantined. And if you're wondering what the disease was, it was ancient Japan, where their medicines were very far behind what we have today, so take your pick, I guess. Yeah, he was cursed to wander with his sister in tow, and because of his narcolepsy, he couldn't rely on his body in hand-to-hand combat, so he took up sniping. I'm not sure how he had guns, but I mean, the guns obviously exist. If you're a Demon Slayer fan, you've seen the spoilers. So, but if you haven't, skip 15 seconds. Genya has guns, so I assume he got guns, and he uses those guns to. Yeah, he has guns, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He has guns, and he uses them for long-range sniping, so he doesn't have to worry about conking out not falling asleep mid-battle, well, or mid-hunt, and can always bring home the food. Yeah. One day he actually fell asleep while bringing home while going home to deliver his sister, or Lily, Net, the medicine, and when he woke up, he rushed home only to find her near death. He begged for a way to save her. He actually and as he cradled her dying body, he screamed to the gods, "Please don't take her away from me. She's all I have left." They're basically the Gyutaro and Ume of this, and he begged for a way to save his sister. Cue Muzan and her kind of being absorbed into his body and guns, and now they're kind of unable to separate from each other. It's kind of weird, honestly. But he can actually shoot off his own hands, and the guns can actually become these like dog things that can morph into one giant dog. Even that's actually not that big. It's actually around Lilynet's size, so she can technically take her own form away from him. But yeah, together they make up Upper Moon 1, the strongest of the strong demons. And if you're wondering how these two are able to keep demons in line, they are gifted the unique ability by this world's Muzan to destroy demon cells. He trusts, and the only reason he does this is because he trusts that Ulquiorra won't betray him, and he can kill him. And well, yeah, it's only because he trusts Ulquiorra, and he knows that Starrk will probably fall asleep, and he's actually triggered. Okay, to explain this, because Muzan injected his blood into his body, he can trigger Starrk's narcolepsy. So anytime he thinks of betraying Muzan, he falls asleep. It isn't why he's always asleep, because he never thinks of that. Muzan's just paranoid. Don't tell him that. Muzan will kill me in a blink of an eye. I won't even know it hit me. So yeah, that's all of the Espizuki. I hope you liked my definitions. I'll comment down below what Ulquiorra's disease is. Yeah. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching.